Good evening. This is my second time coming to Vernon. And yesterday when we were driving through Kelowna, we saw a stretch of lakes, mountainous areas coming, all stretching up to Vernon. So it's a beautiful town. More than just being beautiful, it's also receptive to different religions, different beliefs, and that's really wonderful. Now, it is customary for a Buddhist monk to chant to the honor of the Buddha, so I will be chanting 3 times in Pali. Pali is an ancient classical Indian language spoken at the time of the Buddha. So I'll be chanting a Pali chant 3 times. If you already know, you can chant with me. If you don't know, it's right there on both sides. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I pay homage to the Blessed One, the Perfect One, the fully enlightened One. Thank you for inviting me here to Vernon. I was invited by Sherman and Tom to come here to give a talk. We call it a Dharma talk. The talk concerns about how to overcome emotional challenges. I've been giving this kind of talks in other countries, especially in Asia. I gave talk in Singapore, and I will be going to Malaysia in October. I gave talks in China, and I gave talks in the United States too. So tonight, I'm going to share with you the very important subject, especially nowadays, on overcoming emotional challenges. I would like to structure it in such a way that when everybody goes home, we go home with something. After listening to a monk talking, you go home with some information. So I would break the Dharma talk into 2 parts. The first part is to understand the nature of emotions. That's the theory part. And the second part is how to practice it, how to overcome it. More than just talking about the concepts, we need to know how to do it, how to let go of it. And to understand emotions, we have to know where emotions come from and what is karma. This morning I was giving a talk to a group of students at Seton High School, and they were teenagers, and actually I was worrying that I may be using too much Buddhist terminology, because really in Buddhism there's so much terminology, and I'm afraid that teenagers may not be able to understand. So I was trying to simplify everything. But today we have almost, I didn't see any boys and girls around. It's all adults. And I can see also how parents and how adults concerned about this subject, about mentality, about depressions, anxiety, fear, and all that, and how do we overcome that. So to understand emotions, we have to know where do emotions come from, what is karma, what are emotions. Negative emotions certainly would lead to mental disorder, and how do emotions arise, an overview of our mental experiences. In order to understand emotions, we have to know how our mind thinks. Many people are interested in meditation. Meditation is not just about yoga to improve your health, it's also harmonizing your body with the mind. So meditation concerns more actually with the state of mind than with the health of the body. Of course, if your state of mind is healthy, your body will be healthy. So that's the part that we want to understand emotions. And then after talking about the theory, I don't know how much time we have because we're already late for 20 minutes. But anyway, we'll try. It's a difficult subject for me too because we cram everything into an hour and a half. Usually this kind of talk would be about 3 days, 3 hours each. So we're talking about 9 hours. So it's a cram course. So to overcome emotions, the practice side of it, how do we do it? We talk about silent meditation, which is quite equivalent to mental therapy. If we don't want to use that religious word. Usually in every talk, I try to throw out the word religion. Religion is just a word. So we just throw it out and talk about mental therapy, a silent meditation, and chanting meditation, which is sound therapy. Actually, we also have walking meditation, reclining meditation, even eating meditation. But we're just talking about silent meditation and chanting meditation. And then, how do we practice both meditations? Here, right here and now. We don't have to wait. So what's the point if I give you all the theories and when you go home, how do I do it? I haven't done it before. So let's just do it here, maybe up to 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And how can family members and friends help people or their family members with mental disorder? That's very important. How do we live with someone who has depression? How do we get by it? That's really important. All right, so let's move on. Any objection? No? So we'll move on. Yeah. Where do emotions come from? Come from your own karma. Karma is a Sanskrit word or a Pali word. Karma means, if we really translate it word for word, it means motion. Karma is energy expressed through thoughts, actions, and speeches. For every karmic energy, there is an equal and opposite reaction to it. It's just like the Newton's third law of motion. When an action is performed, there's an equal and opposite reaction to it. It's just that when you push someone, that someone being pushed will back off, and you will back off too, but you just hold your position. So whenever you bounce out something is bouncing back to you. Compassion out, compassion back. Violence out, violence back. So the example is, for every thought of hatred or loving kindness, which is just the opposite, that arises in our mind, that is an equal amount of hatred or loving kindness that eventually returns to us. This morning there was a boy, an intelligent boy. He says, what I learned in Buddhism is what you give out bounce back to you, so you've got to be a good boy. That's exactly what this is talking about. It's cause and effect. So karma. Everybody is creating karma. And then we can talk about really a little bit in detail what actually is karma. Karma also refers to the natural law of cause and effect. We call it causality. Cause and effect. Cause and effect is scientific. It's not religious, it's scientific. Whatever cause you put, whatever you sow, you reap. The doer is the reaper. So you got to sow good seeds, you reap good seeds. Bad seeds, you reap bad seeds. If you sow apples, you get apples. Oranges, you get oranges. There's always a cause and effect. It's just like studying at university. If you work hard, you get an A or B. If you don't work, if you're lazy, if you don't go to lectures, if you don't buy the book, you fail. I'm still looking for that book all my life. How to pass the examination without studying hard. I could never find that book. You want to pass the examination? You got to study hard, right? Study hard is the cost. Getting an A is the result. There's no such thing as not studying, not doing anything, and you get an A. Cause and effect. Simple as that. Now, thought, action, and speech of an individual influences the future of that individual. There are three kinds of karma. Good karma, some people call it wholesome karma, bad karma, and neutral karma. Then neutral karma. That almost embraces all karma, all natures of karma. Good karma, good effect, bad karma, bad effect, neutral karma, neutral effect. Whenever we are thinking as an individual, as human, we think in terms of language, words. We can't think without language, without words. We can't think without concepts. So a thought would give rise to action or speeches. If I want to touch this, so I must have a first thought of, I want to touch this. If I want to say yes, I must have that first thought of say, I want to say yes. So all actions and speeches are driven by thoughts. If you don't have that thought, you won't have speech, you won't have action. Actions and speeches, if you always repeat it, it becomes your habit. If you're always yelling, you have the habit of yelling. If you're always cursing, you have the habit of cursing. If you're always compassionate, loving kindness, then you cultivate that kind of habits. So action and speeches, if you repeat it all the time, it becomes a habit. So you got to teach your kids. You must have good habits. Watch your thought, watch your action, watch your speeches. And when the habits are repeated all the time, it becomes your personality. And the personality determines your destiny. Do you want to have a good destiny? It's not determined by God, according to the Buddha. It's by you. You originate that thought. You plan your destiny. You are the script writer of your own script of life. You are the producer. You are the actor. You are the audience. It's interesting. People are watching movies, watching somebody else's scripts, somebody else acting, but actually, you should be careful with your own script. Your own director. Direct a good script. Be a good actor. Get a good box office. Everybody acclaim to it. So, what is karma? We already explained it. And when the Buddha talked about the universe, the sentient beings living in the universe, he's always talking about space and time. What are we made up of? The body. What are we? Body and mind. And we are living in the dimensions of space and time, no exceptions. Let's talk about time. When we consider time, we said time dimensions is 3 dimensions. The past, the present, and the future, right? When we talk about the past, let's talk about time first, not the space. We'll deal with space later. When we talk about time, we say past, present, and future. What is our past? Yesterday, last year. What is our most remote, really past? At birth. Our past is at birth, right? When you were born, right? That's the most past. And your present is what you are now. Your future, you haven't gone into this future yet, but assuming that we're not going to die, we'll have a future. But the Buddha's perspective of time, of the past time, is not just of this life. Past is not just yesterday. It involves many, many lifetimes ago. That's what we call reincarnation. This morning there was a boy talk about the reincarnation, incarnate, reincarnate, reborn, samsara, life and death. So the concept of time is not just of one life. One life is too limited. If we're just looking at this life, when this life is due, then everything is gone. You're like a candle. When you blow off the flame, it's all gone. It's not that. Death, ending is the beginning. Beginning will come to an end. End with beginning is a loop. There's no beginning, there's no end, like a windmill. Have you heard of that song called a windmill? It's all turning and turning and turning until we're not in the samsara, life and death anymore. We are in life and death, which is quite dangerous. And the Buddha said, go beyond life and death. Go beyond it. Don't live in life and death. So, given that the time dimension is past, present, and the future, and the past is none of this life, or previous lives too, and how about space? Our body occupies space. We're living in space. And what is our body made up of? Molecules, elements, right? Kidneys, spleens, lung, everything. And what makes this body compact and carry out all this functionality? All the conditions put together. We call it conditionality. So we live under conditions. When conditions mature, when conditions are satisfactory, we have a body. When conditions are not satisfactory, we're sick. When conditions no more stand, we die. We are living in conditions. That's the reason why Buddha said, we are living in a dream. We are living in the dream, and Buddha is awakening from the dream of existence. That we can talk about more philosophically in the future. But right now, I want to stay on the same path. We're dealing with emotions. Talking about Buddhism, we can be led away to talk about the moon, the star, everything. It's so wide a topic, but just to make sure that I stay on the topic without wandering off, I want to state in, where do emotions come from? Your present life karma and past life karma. That's why some emotions are genetic. It's from your, earlier generation. How much of that genetics carry down? It depends. Some carry very little, and some carry a lot. That genetic is actually all the bad karma that has been done before. It could be carried forward. Energy never disappears, That's the conservation theory of energy. Whatever you've done, every thought is energy. Don't think that you have a bad thought and I'm not thinking about it anymore. I was selfish, now I don't want to think about selfishness anymore. It still is there. Because energy never disintegrates. It's always conserved, it always expands, it always influences, it always gets diluted out. So our karmic energy has been accumulating from one life to the next as we continue to experience rebirth. Talking about rebirth, not many people, I would say, not everybody would agree to it. And I don't have too much time to deal with that subject. That subject needs about one semester. I mean, how can we talk about reincarnation in the class like this for 1.5 hours? So reincarnation is a broad subject, and if you want to go into the details, I would suggest to you, there's so many studies about reincarnation. Get into Professor Ian Stevenson. He spent 40 years in studying reincarnation. He went internationally to Asia, Mexico, everywhere. He collected 3,600 cases of reincarnation clinically. And he wrote books, clinical studies about Ian Stevenson. Google into it and you'll find a lot of information in it. And sometimes when you observe what's going on around you, you can see a lot of reincarnations. As I said this morning, have you seen all those Got Talent show? How come there's prodigies around? How come Johnny, who has never played piano before, and all of a sudden at the age of 7, he was able to play Beethoven, Mozart. He didn't learn it. He remembered from previous life. There's so many cases about that, and you research into it. That's all for reincarnation. If I don't talk about reincarnation, I can't talk about karma, because there's a certain part of it passes from not just genetically, It could be from your own. Don't blame your dad. Don't blame your great-grandfathers for what you've got. It could be just from you yourself. Genetic could be a part of it, but may not be the most influential part of it. So let's talk about karma again. You have to understand, if you want to understand emotions and mental disorders, you have to understand energy, karma. Who created this energy? You. Through what? Thoughts, behavior, actions is behavior, and speeches. So you have to watch your thought, watch your action, that is your behavior, and watch your language. So karma has three natures: good, bad, or neutral. And what is good karma? What is bad karma? We've got to know something about good and bad, right? What's the standard of being good and standard of being bad? I was confronted by a question on the New Year's Eve by a gentleman, and he said, Buddhism wants people to be good. What is good? One good in one country could be regarded as bad in another country. But what is your standard of being good and bad? Generalize it. Whatever action, speech, or thought that would bring harm to others, generalization, that would be regarded as not good. So action, speech, and thought, the three expressions of karma, is also action, speech, and thought is all about you. Action is all your behavior. Normal behavior, deviant behavior, all kinds of behavior. Speech is from the mouth. Thought is from the mind. So how about action? Bad karma, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, intoxication. I'm just giving out some examples. The list is unlimited, inexhaustive. I mean, it's so long. Bad karma is so long, you can't list it. Good karma, renounce killing, protect lives, renounce stealing, practice generosity, give up sexual misconduct, practice discipline. I'm just naming a few, just to give some examples. And how about speech? Bad karma will be in speech, will be lying, immoral language, cursing, slandering, gossiping, flattery, all kinds of words spoken from the mouth. Thought. A thought of greediness, hatred, anger, jealousy, cruelty, arrogance, vengeance, deceiving, egotistic, and wrong views. And good karma will be renouncing greediness, generosity, compassionate, honesty, and harmony. So there's really good and bad. These are the good and bad for generalizations. So given that we know what karma is and how they come from, let's just categorize it a little bit. Unwholesome emotions, greediness, which include lust, desire, infatuation, anger, rage, hostility, hate, resentment, and dislike, ignorance, depression, sadness, despair, anxiety, self-abasement, self-obsession, self-pity, panic, phobia, worry, nervousness, insecurity. All these are the ignorance side of the emotion. There are also wholesome emotions, you know. Emotion is not all bad. There are positive emotions. Negative emotions, positive emotions. Good emotions, happiness, cheerfulness, jubilation, elation, etc., etc., enthusiasm, optimism, pride, dignity, respect, and all that. Love, caring, compassion, all these are good emotions. So not all emotions are bad. But bad emotions would carry out a lot of problems. Negative emotions lead to mental disorder. Depression, anxiety, sadness, despair, rage, fear, suspiciousness, autism, self-pity, self-condemning, jealousy, hatred, self-obsessed, addiction, pride, and arrogance. And all these originate from ego attachment, ego, a self. When we're looking at something, we always wear our glasses of egotistic attitude. We always give an opinion on everything. We always personalize everything. That's almost like our habit. We like to personalize things. We always have an ego on things. No exception. And when we deal with mental experiences, we'll introduce out to you the details of our consciousness. We have 8 consciousnesses altogether, 8 categories. And one of the categories is the ego consciousness that we'll talk about later. And in the Sanskrit language, ego is manas, vijnana. In the original Buddha language, there's manas, vijnana. Mental disorders adversely affect your health, your family, your job, your studies, marriage, career, business, public relations. Simply, they affect everything. They affect your whole life. You have to deal with it. You have to know something about it. Not only you have to let your family members know. It's not just you knowing it. You have to let your family members know so that everybody know what's going on, so that they know, oh, these are emotions. When emotions come up, we got to watch it. Emotions come up. Let's deal with it. You don't carry on the argument, the fighting, and you don't know what's going on. You need to understand it. In order to understand really in a little bit of detail, we need to know how we think. That's the psychology of Buddhism. How we think, actually, psychologically, how a thought arises in our mind. How do we absorb that thought, and how that thought works out. If I have a thought of anger, how does that thought come out? Through what way? What's the origin of it? Because in Buddhism, when Buddha got his enlightenment, his first lesson is talking about the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths. The first Noble Truth is there are sufferings in this world. There's no denying. The world is full of sufferings. It is a fact. We're not being negative. We're not being pessimistic. There's sufferings everywhere. Of course, there's happiness, temporary happiness, but there are sufferings. Now, how can you be absolutely, perfectly happy if you have sickness, if you have aging, if you have death, you have to die? We never think of dealing with death. Because when death comes, we just died. Everybody has to die, right? But have you ever thought of, how do I deal with death? Can I go beyond death other than just eating that Beyond Burger? Have you eaten a Beyond Burger before? You know why they call it Beyond Burger? Vegetarians should know what Beyond Burger is. Burger is life and death. You need that burger to sustain your life. The Buddha said, go beyond that. You don't need to eat that. When you're beyond death, you don't need to eat the burger anymore. Don't tell me, otherwise the stock price will go down again. Yeah. Okay, so we need to know how we think. How exactly do we think? Mental experience. Let's examine how actually we think. How about external environment? We call them externalities. Objects, sound, smell, taste, and touch. These 5 are our externalities. No exceptions. The Buddha categorized them, generalized them, and tried to explain it to us. Hey, this is how you think. You got to deal with your thinking. Change your thinking. Change it to the right way. Don't be living in a dream. So, first of all, you have to know your externalities. Objects. What are objects? You are my objects now. What are objects made up of? Elements, protons, neutrons, electrons. All these is a combination of protons, electrons. I'm not a scientist. I'm just saying this must be coming from molecules, right? So everything is molecules. Molecules, when they group together, become objects. Who see these objects? Your eyes. Without eyes, how can you see objects? Right? You see objects with your eyes. Who listens to sound? Your ears. Your ears listen to sound. Who smell the fragrance? The nose. Who tastes the hamburger? Your tongue. Your taste. And then the body consciousness is the touch, the tactility, or the interaction of all these organs inside your body. They interact in a good, systematic, healthy way. They interact. How do they interact? They have that consciousness to interact it in the right way. Sometimes you wonder, how come our body interact like a little world inside of us? How can the blood flows that way? The air circulates in that way. Who instruct it to happen? There's a body consciousness that dominates this. The Buddha said there's a body consciousness that dominates the circulation in your body. If that circulation is broken down or it stops for a while, you get sick. And some people call it the qi. The qi is working inside of you. The blood, the circulation. And how come it's so mystical? How come it goes left and not right? All has certain system with it. And so you have the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, and the body. This seems to be kindergarten, right? Everybody have these senses. Why do we take a monk to talk about it? We have eyes, ears, nose, and all that, but you don't have to tell me. Yeah, you have them. How do you use them? How do you use them? Do you use them in the right way? This morning there was a boy we were talking and we were talking about seeing pornography. How much time you spend in seeing things you shouldn't see? Your eyes are not being used in the right way. Your ears are not used in the right way because your mouth, how do you use your tongue to talk? You bad mouth other people. You gossip, you flatter, you lie, you slander. How do you use your senses? The Buddha said you've been using your senses on your own will and you don't use them correctly most of the time. Now you should turn back, you should watch. If you don't watch them, they produce bad karma. That accounts for your emotion. You have been using your senses in the wrong way, and that's the reason why you're creating karmic energy. Not just you, I'm not pointing my fingers at you, me too. I don't want you to say, hey, this monk is pointing fingers at me. No, me too. You are going to die, I'm going to die. Who does not have to die? Raise your hand. You don't have to die? You have a choice? How long would you like to live? 200 years? By then we're all dead. You have no friends. You don't even have relatives. By then, Vernon may be like Vancouver, and you're that old man, having a cane. And where did my friends go? 200 years ago, I was talking to this monk at Shopping Center. Can you live 200 years? Even if you can live 200 years, it's an agony to you. You know why? You missed out all your family members. You don't know your friends. Certainly, you can't get married anymore. Who will love an old lady? Who will love an old man? A 200 years old man and somebody's going to marry you? Even if you have 100,000 millions, nobody's going to marry you. Don't you think? Sometimes they marry for the money and sometimes not. They marry for love. So, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your tongue, your body. And this is your perception. Have you got these? Most of us got these. Did we use them in the right way? We don't know. You know. I don't know how do you use your senses. But from today on, you got to watch your sensory organs. Don't waste your time away to see things, to listen to things, to badmouth, to talk about things that is not necessary. And one more important concept. The other day I was watching a gentleman. His name is Nick Wujiji. Have you ever heard of that gentleman? If you've heard of this guy, you raise your hands. Oh yeah, you've seen that little documentary. This man, Australian man, has no limbs whatsoever. No limbs, just a trunk of body. And he was living so happily because he appreciated what he got. What he said is, most people only put their attention on what they haven't got. Most of them don't put attention on what they've got. Most people say, I'm not tall enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not handsome enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not rich enough. They always concentrate on what deficiency, what they haven't got. But what they've got, they don't appreciate them. You should read that book written by Helen Keller. Still very, very influential and very touching book. The Story of My Life. That lady lived in the early 19th century. Anybody who hasn't heard about a woman called Helen Keller, raise your hands. Who haven't heard of it? Of course, you haven't heard of it. All those who have heard about it, raise your hands. Most people heard about that. This lady has no eyes, no seeing functionalities, cannot see, cannot hear, cannot talk. Someone who cannot see, cannot hear, cannot talk. Some people say you should commit suicide, right? And there's no point. There's no point in living. But he appreciates what he's got, what is left. She's got feeling. She still have a brain that can learn. She never thought about, I don't have my eyes, I don't have my ears, I don't have a tongue to talk, I should die. He never thought of that. He appreciates what he's got. But you got everything though. You got all your senses. Should you appreciate more than her? But what's the actual truth? Do you appreciate them? Or you hate yourself? You pity yourself? What is your values? Do you have values? We all have values. Living itself is a value. Pursuing happiness is a value. Being a good person is a value. Being compassionate to others, helpful to society is a value. We all have values. Why do we commit suicide? In 2017, I researched into statistics of Hong Kong. They conduct a survey in Hong Kong, in Asia, in Hong Kong. 40% of all the students that they survey have depression. 40% actually have depression. And in the year 2017, 22 students committed suicide. 8 committed suicide at university dormitories. And I don't know the figures in North America. I was told that in North America, 49,000 died of committing suicide every year. And more than 80% of it were due to mental disorder, one way or another due to alcoholics, or simply just depression, anxiety, fear, and all that. It's become a very major cause of sickness and death. We have to deal with it. We have to let people know about it. Okay, getting back to mental experiences, because we want to know how we think so that we can solve the problems. You see, the Buddha's teaching, the Buddha told us that when we want to solve problems, we have to find out causes of it, not just talking about the surface of it. Why? Why do we create all this bad karma that leads us into mental disorder? These, if I can give you an example of a company, these are the front-end salesmen and sales lady of your body company. If your body is like a company, for example, are these, your eyes, your ears, and nose, your tongue, your body, are the front-end salesman and sales lady? Right? Everybody has that? Okay, let's carry on. And then in addition to all these sensory organs that we have that cognitive, we have the brain, which deals with cognition. Because the eyes themselves cannot see. Only the brain tells the eyes what the eyes see. The brain can also go back for the memory, for images, and relate the image to historical images. That's the reason why you know what you see. So eyes themselves, they cannot make a decision. The eardrum is just like an equipment. The eardrums cannot distinguish what kind of sound, what kind of music. The ears and the nose, the tongue, they all have to be determined by the manager. By the manager in the Sanskrit language is the mano. Actually, this is a lesson of University Psychology 100. It's just Psychology 100 or Psychology 101. But there's more detail in it because psychology never go to alaya consciousness and manas consciousness, which the Buddha talked about, which I would relate it back to you. So there's the cognitive process, including interpretation, rationalization of the perception, and we call it cognition. We cognize, it's cognition. And when we cognize, when we see something, when we listen to something, we personalize it. Personalization, because when we personalize it, that's the problem. We start to, emotions get arising when we personalize it. Oh, you're talking, what are you talking about? You're talking about me. You can't just talk about me like that. You're criticizing me. That's bad. I'm going to defend myself. I personalize every word of what you said. So you start to personalize it. And once you personalize it, your ego's attached to it. There's the seventh consciousness. And if you take the example of a company, your front-end salesman have a manager, and that the name of that manager is called Mano. The manager is able to go back to archive files, dig up the past memory. The salesman and the sales lady, they have no right to look at historical data. Only the manager can. Only the mind can. So the Mano is the manager interacting with your senses to work out everything, to do everything. So you got to have a good manager. That Mano is your manager. That manager dominates the whole company of your body. If you have a good manager, you manage a good life. If you have a bad manager, your life is going to be awful. So you're going to hire a good manager. And that manager is inside of you. You've got to train your manager. That's Mano. But other than a manager, if we get an example of the company, the manager is dominated by what? Your rational mind is dominated by your emotional mind. So your emotions always dominate your rationality. You always get mad. You always get jealous. You get arrogant. You want to fight. You get angry. You're anxious. So your emotional mind is always a tug of war with the rational mind. And your emotional mind seems to be always winning. Give me the example of a company. What is that? Emotional mind. That's your ego. Everybody has that ego. The example of that ego is your board of directors. The board of directors, they don't care about everything. They just want profit. We are the board of directors. You got to work it out, Manu. All these salesmen and sales ladies got to work. I don't care about how you do it. I just want it done. I want money. I want stock price to go up. I only care about myself. What do I care about a company? I have no social responsibility. Why do I have to care about? Any board of directors who have social responsibility, who are enthusiastic about social responsibility, they become good citizens. The company is going to be prospering. So the Buddha's teaching is all about life. It's not about blind faith of worshiping, flowers and prostration. No. It's about life. So your board of directors is your ego. Change your ego. No good. Change your board of directors. And then, finally, that's last but not least, we have a consciousness called alaya consciousness. That's the mystery of consciousness. That is the store of consciousness. That is the whole company. the echelon of the company, the spirit of the company. There's a whole company. Everything gets stored. Everything, our action, our speech, our thought are all stored in our storage consciousness. That's the reason why nothing is forgotten. It's like a computer. When you key in the keyboard, the disk drive is going to get everything. The computer may be dead, but you take out the disk drive, it's still working. When a person dies, we have this example. All the salesmen die. Your eyes, your ears, your nose, your tongue, your body no more exist. You die, they all died. Your manager either quit or your manager will be fired. You don't need the manager anymore. So there's no more cognition process. The board of directors shrink into the soul, shrink into the storage consciousness. Only the alaya consciousness left. When a person dies, the whole body no more. But the last consciousness, you cannot see consciousness. Consciousness is energy. How can you see energy? There's alaya energy, the alaya consciousness, the energy. The energy will leave the body and reincarnate into another body. You believe that? When you die, somebody called it the soul. Anybody seen any ghost before? Or you don't believe in a ghost? Have you seen movies about ghosts? There was a good movie many, many years ago called Ghosts. That's a good movie. Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore, right? It's a very exciting movie about ghosts. The ghost is still around. But Demi Moore couldn't see it. It's always around. So when a family member passed away, within the 49 days, which we call the Bardo stage, he or she is still roaming around the family, still going. He doesn't want to go. When a person passes away, if his or her ego attaches so much to the family, he does not want to leave. He's agonizing. He feels very sad. But he could express it. He couldn't be seen. Sometimes you may feel the presence, but you cannot see him or her. But he or she is still around. For 49 days, we call that the Bardo stage. You know, talking about Bardo, have you ever read a book called Tibetan Book of the Dead? That will have a lot of details about when a person died, what happened. We don't want him to roam around. There's no good for him. Because I read a lot of books about ghosts, especially in the Chinese language. In China, there are many studies, actual studies about people who actually see ghosts. And some people told me that I don't know why, they have special eyes. I don't know why they see. And he told me that he still sees ghosts that pertain to the Sung dynasty, which is 1,000 years ago. In the costumes similar to ancient people, because they still roam around. And for example, in the family, if the husband passed away, if they are living in the different cities, the husband working in one city and the wife in another city, the wife passed away. And then the wife wants to see the husband. So the wife will be waiting and waiting for 1 year, 2 years. She's been waiting for 1,000 years. She just has that notion, I want to wait for my husband. That notion in the mind is so firm that he won't reincarnate. He will be still around. That's the reason why I don't go to old hotels. Don't live at the end of a lobby. Have you ever heard stories like that? A lot of stories. There's another good movie I mentioned to you. An old movie. I'm an old man, so I keep old movies. Heaven Can Wait is a good movie. Yeah, good movie. Heaven Can Wait, about a guy who passed away and he reincarnated into different bodies. Interesting. But what am I talking about? I'm not talking about movies. I'm talking about Buddhism. So let's stick on to the mental experiences. So you have that alaya in you. And everything got stored in there. It won't go away. It's the same theory of conservation of energy. Energy only change form. Energy won't disappear. And that is not just the Buddha said, that's proven by science. Energy don't disintegrate. So watch your thought. Always habituate yourself in giving good thoughts. Thoughts of loving kindness, generosity, compassion. You think a thought doesn't count? A thought counts. A thought would drive your action out, give rise to words. All right, so that's basically our mental experiences. That's how we see things, how we understand things, how actually everything's stored in us. So we have to be very careful with how we interact with each other. We have to have the right understanding of it. So just to recap a bit, we have 8 consciousness with eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and then we have the manager, the mano, interacting with eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body, and this front-end salesman and sales lady also interact with the outside world, absorbing all these perceptions, put it in their mind, and sometimes mano could interpret the wrong conception. That's the reason why they stereotype. This guy, he looks ugly, he must be dishonest. He's stereotyped. He's not making the right decision. He's labeling things. He's discriminating. There are people like that. So watch your mind. Okay, there's also the ego center, the manas, the board of directors, the ego center. He personalized everything. We personalize everything. And then we have the storage consciousness. You see all these seats in there in storage consciousness. The storage consciousness is immeasurable because you have lived many, many years, many, many generations, many, many life cycles. How big is your memory? Your memory is immeasurable. How big is the computer memory? I remember when I first learned computer, we punched cards. Yeah. All those who are youngsters, you don't know. When we learned computers, when I was studying, many years ago, I come to Canada, many years ago, 50 years ago, before you were born, I don't know. And I study at University of Toronto. And when we do computer, we punch cards. And we use those parts to go through the programming. And the memory is so limited. But now, the computer drive has immeasurable memory. They even have the clouds that is like a universe. It's exactly. You have been registered with the clouds. Your own consciousness is registered. They won't get away. Watch every action that you did, every thought from now on, every word. Because they give out energy, they give out karma, and they affect your emotion. They are responsible for giving you the depression, your anxiety, your fear, your hatred, your arrogance, your jealousy. You got to watch. How do emotions arise? Because we cannot let go. Our senses habitually attach to external objects, arousing wholesome and unwholesome emotions. For example, our eyes have vision. We're seeing a sensual object arousing sensual desire. Ears interact with sound. Being insulted, arousing anger. Being complimented, feeling delight. You always like to be complimented. You don't like to be criticized. And nose, you resent pungent odor, attaching to fragrant smells. Your tongue, you like to taste the flesh and blood of animals. The beef, the hog, the pigs, the chicken, the duck, you like to kill them for food. Indirectly, of course, indirectly. Otherwise, unless you work in the slaughterhouses, you deal with them directly. Otherwise, you're indirectly killing animals for food. That's the reason why the Buddha said, don't kill animals for food. It's not right. You're putting suffering on animals. They feel the same way. You hit a dog, you think the dog become happy? A dog will have the same feeling of pain as humans. The same holds true for cows, ducks, chicken. Why do you kill them for food? Starting from tomorrow, be a vegetarian, Beyond Burger. It's getting easier. I've been looking for a vegetarian restaurant in Vernon, and I haven't really found one. They only make something in the menu. They say this is green. When you see a green mark, that is vegetarian. But I haven't seen a vegetarian. In Vancouver, more than 50 vegetarian restaurants. That's a profit motive in you. Operate a vegetarian restaurant. You do good. Because everybody wants to be slim. They don't want to be fat. And Sherman told me that the stock price of Beyond Burger rises in a day to 40% in a day, right? Something like that. It's the stock price of Beyond Burger, when they have that advertising. Have you seen the advertising of A&W? I'm not advertising for A&W though. I'm not. But they put Beyond Burger, and Beyond Burger is something like no preservatives, no chemicals. They spend millions of dollars on getting that burger out. Why did they do it? They said, I don't want to attach the word religion to it. Let's talk about the environment. You give all this food to the cows, and what do they produce? All the chemicals out, and use the chemicals for fertilizers. You're ruining the universe by eating meat. Okay, body, touch, tactility, attaching to material luxuries arising habitual greediness. So mind, attaching to past memories arising resentment or regret. You know, it's sometimes funny. Why do we have depression? Why do we have fear and anxiety? Because we always like to bring the past experiences onto the present table and ponder on it. I have this bad past experiences that happened 1 year ago. It will never come back again, right? Can the past come back? Can yesterday come back? The day tomorrow, the day last year come back? The past. It will never come back. But the foolishness in us is we always want to bring past experiences onto the present, ruminate on it, agonize on it, and cry on it. Isn't that stupid? It already passed. You already been abused in childhood by an alcoholic father or mom or whatever, and you still remember it and always bring it to the present table and think about it. That's stupidity. Because it will never happen again. You don't allow that to happen. Why do you agonize on past experiences? And some people addicted to past experiences. I have that kind of happiness. Now my dad is gone. Now I'm living with my single mom. I always cherish those days I spent with my dad. I'd cry. I agonize. The man is already gone. Everybody has gone through storms in every family. There's a Chinese saying. Every family has its own sutra to chant. That means every family has its own problems, somehow, one way or another. You think only your family has the problem? Everybody has problems. But that does not mean that we are being pessimistic. We want to solve those problems. We don't allow the problems to linger on. We want to be happy. We want to lead a happy life. That's the reason why we will be talking about it, right? We try to understand it. Don't bring the past onto the present. So don't attach to past memories. And for the same reason, don't worry about the future. The future hasn't come yet. Why do you worry about your sickness? You think you're sick now and worrying about it will heal you? Right now I'm sick. I'm almost like on the verge of death. So I start to worry about it. By worrying about it, I'll recover. Would worry about it heal you? But you just worry about it. You cannot throw away that bit of worriness in you, that worry in you. You always want to bring anxiety of the future onto the present and think about it and depressed about it and cry. And isn't that stupid? Sometimes I commit the same mistake. And then, oh, no, I'm a monk. I shouldn't be doing that. I'm on meditation. Oh, yeah. We're not saints. Monks are common people. We just know what's going on and we try to purify ourselves. We're in the process of purifying our senses. We're not saint yet. We still have to work at it. Purifying one's senses, going for enlightenment, is a lifelong process. The learning is a lifelong process. It's not just a few years. Okay, so now what do we do next? After learning about the nature of emotions, a cram course of emotions, we must begin to learn on how to deal with them, right? We need to practice them, right? Okay, let's practice some of it. I have to go fast now. What is meditation? What is silent meditation? Fasten up. You get everything out. Meditation is in two parts. If you think that meditation is too religious for you, only the monk talk about meditation. That's not true. A Roman Catholic also meditate. Meditation is not just for the Buddhists, for the Hindi, for the yogi. So don't label meditation and relate it only to Buddhism. So a silent meditation is just mental therapy, and that is in two parts. One part is stabilization. In the Sanskrit language is samatha, anapanasati. That is in the classical Indian language. Some people like to call it mindfulness. But many of the high-level monks said mindfulness is not a right translation. Because mindfulness, what is mindful? Mindfulness is to fill up your mind with something. But meditation is to get rid of all those things. It's not filling up your mind with garbage. You're not mindful. You are trying to get rid of, let go. Let go of your anger. Give up your anger, your greediness, your hatred, your jealousy. You give up all those. You renounce all those. How can you feel with mind? How come your mind be full, mere mindful? No. It's getting rid of things. In the temporal world, when we want to learn something, we want to get. We want to get to it. We want to get knowledge. We want to know how to drive. We want to know this and know that. But in meditation, it's exactly the opposite. You want to get rid of things. Get rid of things that you're attached to. It's getting rid of, letting go of, not to be full of. So, stabilization. And then the next one will be introspection. Vipassana, introspection, which means that more than just focusing, you need wisdom. You need wisdom to analyze it, not just the stabilization part. How to meditate? Focus on your breath. Focus on your breath. Why do we use the breath? So when you're meditating, some people like to put a candle flame on it and look at the candle flame and meditate. Some people look at the pond, some water. But the Buddha said, use a simple method, the breath. Your breath is the most present moment. Your breath is not the past. What is more present than your breathing now? Why do you attach to something that is external? Your breath is the most akin to you. It follows you wherever you go and as long as you live. Easy to remember and control, is most akin to you as a focus object. When we meditate, if we don't meditate, we have millions of externalities, right? Our eyes, our ear, nose, everything, we have millions of externalities. The Buddha said, the only way to let go of these millions of externalities is gear your attention to just one object. Because we have multi-million objects. Now, just gear it to one object and use that breath as the one object so that you can focus on it. It's just like when you have a magnifier. You focus your sunlight onto one point and you burn what is underneath. So when you meditate, you need a focus. That focus is using your breath. How do you do it? You imagine that you're a minute little monkey, a molecule inside your nostril. And that monkey is sitting in there, feeling the air in. Now the air is breathing in. Now the air is breathing out. That monkey is sitting right inside. In and out, in and out. That means you don't have any other thoughts. No thoughts of jealousy, hatred, you want, or even compassion, thought of compassion. No more of this thought. I just want one focus, and that is my breath, my in and out breath. Ana means in. Pana means out. Anapana, anapana. So you use your breath as the focus of attention. If you train yourself good enough using this focus, if you train yourself good enough, then that means your rational mind takes over your emotional mind. Your emotional mind is always branches off in every direction, looking for emotion to express. Now, this is your only object, okay? And you let go of your desultory thoughts, break the habitual perpetuation of attachment. The breath deals with the present, the past, and the future must be dealt with. Letting go and stop your habitual egoistic thinking. So that means use your breath as your object of attention. You are actually training yourself to focus. When I was a student back at university or even high school, my teachers, my principals always tell me, hey, son, if you want to do well at school, you got to pay attention. You got to focus. The more you can focus, the more you get a higher score. Some kids cannot read for even 15 minutes because he hasn't got the focus. And some kids can read for 1 hour. All those students who can focus for a longer period of time will be the winner, will do good in school because he can focus. So that should start from you. You're the parents. When you teach your kids, teach attention, focus. You are the trainer. You need to train, not just empty talk. Hey, John, you got to focus. You got to pay attention. You got to do this. You got to do that. You never train him. You just tell him what to do. You never instruct him what to do. Now, no. Okay, Tom, sit down. And this is your breath. Don't hold your breath. Breathe naturally. In and out, in and out. And when your thought goes away, your thought will go away like a monkey. Oh, I'm playing soccer this evening. Oh, tomorrow I'm playing hockey. And the next day I'm going skiing. I mean, all kinds of thoughts in his mind. Learn how to focus. Go within by using one object, the breath. And if you train him well, you are increasing his control on himself. He can control his emotion. When his emotions come out, you say, okay, focus on your breath. When I'm angry, okay, Tom, John, Johnny, focus on your breath. Stop the emotion. Focus on your breath. That gives you the power. Because when you focus, your emotional mind is being dominated by your rational mind. You're on your way. Of course, you have to go through the training. Nothing comes through without training. You have to go through that. And this is the method not introduced by me, by Buddha. 2,600 years ago, there was a prince who renounced his throne to be the king, who gave up all the luxuries and tried to find out meditation to attain enlightenment, to attain nirvana. And the purpose of him doing that is not just for himself to be enlightened. He wanted to introduce this method of enlightenment to all beings on earth so that they can be enlightened too. So this is the Buddha's method. If you get into Google Anapanasati, Ana is in, Pana is out. So watch your in and out breath. You always want to train your kids piano lessons, soccer lessons, yoga lessons, all kinds of lessons. Have you ever trained your kids in meditation? Breath, focus on breath. I remember when I saw a boxing competition, and there were two boxers, one on each side, before they started. One boxer was jumping all over the place. I'm the greatest. I'm going to win. I win. The other boxer was sitting in there and closed his eyes. And somehow, I think he's meditating. And in my judgment, I said, this guy is going to win because he can concentrate. And this guy is jumping around, yelling, arrogance. But this guy who is concentrating, who is focusing, he'll be great. He'll do good at school. He'll do good in every career that he's going to follow. So I always say Buddhism is not just for the adults, for the seniors like me. It's for the youngsters. It's for the teenagers. They should start learning Buddhism at young age, not waiting to retire. Then people say, okay, especially in the Chinese community, they always say, I will start to believe in Buddhism when I get old. When I have got all the money, when I have got all my fame, all my reputation, and all my daughters and sons, they're doing well, then I can relax and I'm happy and I'm doing meditation. The time will never come. This is an imperfect world. There's no perfection in this world. So, that is on the focus. Now let's go a little deeper into it. Focus on breath and let go. You see, we have all these senses now, right? And normally, senses, eyes interact with matter, ears with sound, nose with smell, tongue with taste, body with touch, and mind with every image and thought. Now, what you want to do, your manas, your board of directors always attaches to self. You think that you have a self, but actually the Buddha said you are non-self, but you don't believe it. But that requires time to explain, and I'm not going to explain it now here, because that takes a lot of time. Now, when you are doing meditation, you let go. Your eyes let go of matter. Because what do? You close your eyes, don't see anything. You let go. When you're meditation, your ears let go. You switch off your phone. No more ringing. No more sound. You don't want to listen to music. How can you listen to music when you're meditating? So you want to let go of all the sound. For now, I don't want any sound. Every time I hear this sound, do I have a moment of no sound? No, some people cannot live without sound. They have to live with sound. Even when they're studying, they have to turn on the radio, they have to turn on the music. They can't live without it. That's habitual. But now, you don't have any sound. Nose, you're not smelling anything. Tongue, you're not eating anything. Your body, you only have your breath. You still have the body touch, because the breath touches your body. Every time when the breath comes in, it touches your body. So you still have that breath of touch. And how about the mind? The mind, no inner commentator. Break your habitual continuation of desultory thinking of the past and future. Everybody has that internal commentator in you. When you see things, you always personalize it. This is right, this is wrong, this is blue, this is rich, this is poor. I hate him, I like him. You always add comments. You habitually are adding comments to everything. And that's what we call opinionated. Opinion. You always have opinions. You like to have opinions about everything. Drop your opinion. No more opinion. We need to. No, you don't need your own opinion on yourself. You're meditating. Right? Why do you want to give an opinion on how you're meditating? No opinion. Self, let go of yourself. Only in and out breath exist. That's how you do meditation. I don't think I need to practice in here, because there's no air conditioning in here. You're already sweating. But go home and practice it, because I don't have time to practice it in here. Usually when I am I'm talking, we immediately will carry out a 5 minutes doing it. And I don't know if it could be applicable in here, since some of you are sweating. So just do you want to do it in here, or you want to do it at home? You can do that at home. You want to do it in here? So why don't we have a 5 minutes meditation? You can just sit there. You don't have to cross your legs. You don't really have to cross your legs. Drop everything. You just have this breath in and out for 5 minutes. This is your monkeying mind. Watch it. Your monkey could go away. When your monkey go away, that monkey that feels your breath in and out, put it on a leash. Put it on a leash. When the monkey goes away, you say, oh, no, I shouldn't be thinking about tomorrow. Then you put it back. When your monkey thinks about yesterday, no, I shouldn't be thinking about yesterday. I should be thinking on my breath. You put it back. Can you do that? There's a lot of monkeying going away. Put it back. Put it onto your point of focus. You have to go through this training. This is a powerful training. All right? So let's do a 5 minutes. Close your eyes. No more ringing, no more. Keep silent and just focus on just feel the breath in and feel the breath out. It sounds easy, but it's difficult to do, because your mind will be non-stop 24/7. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, your mind is non-stop, even in your dream. But can you do that now? Concentrate on your breath. I start when you at the signal of my wooden fish striking. Close your eyes and do the meditation. Good, we've done pretty good because we are quiet. And how do you feel? Do you feel that, can you focus? Can you actually focus on it? You may not even know that you're focusing. Well, actually, you're not focusing. But you can do that at home. You don't have to cross the lake. You just do that at home. Train yourself to focus on your breath. And this part, today we're talking about emotions, right? The first part is to stop your emotion. Prevent your emotion from coming up. You have to strengthen your focus and say, my emotion is coming up. I have to let it go. I've got to concentrate on my breath. Let go of that emotion. Don't let it come up. I want to cry, but I don't want to cry because I want to focus on my breath. This crying is just an emotion. This crying is not me. This crying is just a feeling. This crying is not you. This crying is not me. It's just a feeling. And how come I cry because of this feeling? This could have been a past feeling, right? But how come I bring this past feeling onto the present? Somebody abused me before, and then this abusive behavior, I bring it up to my present table and be painful about it. That's stupidity. So make sure that you don't do that. That's focusing, letting go. That's one part of dealing with emotions. Let's get on to the second part. Introspection. You got to have wisdom to tackle it. If we give an example of a bad guy coming to steal, a burglar guy, and he comes in your house, sneak into your house and try to steal it. You stopped him. You tied him up because he's coming to steal your stuff at home. You tied him up. But you got to give him to the police, which is the same as elimination. Tying your emotion up is not enough. It is still there. You just bundle it up, but it's still there. You got to eliminate it, right? You got to eliminate it altogether. That elimination part required wisdom to eliminate, not just the focusing part. And that wisdom is introspection. So how does one practice meditation in order to get rid of mental afflictions? The answer is one must meditate with the right introspection. What is the right introspection? Let's give an example. We use Satipatthana. Sati, what is Satipatthana? The cultivation of mental introspection to overcome mental afflictions like emotion. Sati is, people translated that as mindfulness, as meditation. You use mental therapy to deal with emotions. You need to calm your mind and relax the body. That is Satipatthana. Now, when a thought arises, anxiety, or fear, depression arises, right? A thought arises in you, then you know, oh, I'm watching that thought. I'm not following that thought. I'm not with that thought. I distance myself from that thought. But I live with it. I don't hate it. When a depression come up, when an anxiety and fear come up, we don't hate it. I hate this depression. It gives me unhappiness. People despise me. I have no value. Don't attach any more emotion to an emotion. You are just like adding violence, counteracting violence. It won't do you any good. When violence come up, you counter it with loving kindness, compassion, not with hatred. So you don't add hatred to hatred. When a negative emotion comes up, you add negative emotion onto it, you are only increasing its momentum. You're not resolving it. By crying, you are just increasing its momentum. Don't do that. You use loving kindness. You love yourself. You must learn to love yourself first. I love myself. I don't want to cry. I want to be strong. I don't want to go with this emotion. So when a thought comes up, what do? You be aware of the arising of such thought. Say, I want to be lazy. I don't want to study for the examinations. Oh, I have a laziness thought comes up. I don't want to linger. I want to get an A. You have to use wisdom to get into that laziness, to tackle it, to eliminate it, to dilute it. You need wisdom to do it. And then watch the thought with the 4 introspections. I will tell you later what are the 4 introspections. You watched it. You watched that depression, thought of anxiety. You distance yourself from it. Don't get mixed up with it. However, you live with it. You don't alienate yourself with it because you can't alienate it. If somebody say, just any guy, if he say, oh, you have depression, it's easy. Let it go. Let go. You think it's easy to let go? People say, oh, a depression comes up. Oh, it's easy. Just let it go. It's extremely difficult to let it go. It's easy to talk about it. You need to train your mind, to still your mind. You need to train your mind so that you have that ability to calm down. You haven't gone through the training. You just talk about it. You need to walk the board, not just talk about a board. You need to walk on it. You need to train yourself when it comes up. I watched it. I don't hate it, but I live with it. But I put a stillness on my mind. I want to keep quiet. I don't want to cry. I want to keep quiet and watch it. I live with it. I don't hate it. I befriend with it somehow. I don't welcome it. I just live with it, and then somehow it would go away. Because the depression would not be all the time depression. It's like the weather. Today you have depression, tomorrow it may be gone. And then 2 days more and it comes back again. So treat it like you have to live with it. You have to befriend with it. Don't hate it. However, you train your mind to distance yourself from it. Don't get mixed up with it. You have to get that vacuum in you that you can say, oh, I'm watching it. I don't want to commit suicide. I have values. Helen Keller doesn't have any eyes, ears, and tongue, but he still lives. He has values. I have value too. Living is value. To be happy is value. To love my family members, that's value. I have a lot of values in me. Let go of the thought. If you cannot let go in the beginning, try to keep a silent mind and learn to accept it with understanding and tolerance. So an emotion of depression comes up. There are 2 ways to deal with it. You hate it. You cry. You fight with it because you think that you're going to be overwhelmed by it. That's one approach. The other approach, this one approach is you are using negative emotion against negative emotion, same as using violence against violence. Another approach, depression comes up, negative emotion, you tolerate it. You live with it. You are exercising the emotion of toleration. You tolerate it. You live with it, and then you say, I'm going to go through this experience of depression, but when I recover, I'm going to relate my experiences to a lot of other people. I'm going to be helpful. I'm going to share my experiences with other people. I know I'll be successful. So you have an emotion of sharing. You have an emotion of compassion. You're adding positive emotion of compassion to negative emotion of depression. You're adding good things to it. You're diluting it out. Which approach you want? You're the same person. You have a choice. Of course, you want to put loving kindness, compassion, toleration to that negative feeling. It's just like this morning when I talked to the boys and girls. I said, if you're being bullied at school, many students get bullied at school. When you get bullied at school, there are 2 approaches to it. The one, fight back. How come you bully me? I got to fight back. I fight for my rights. Because you think that I'm not strong enough to bully you back, I fight back. So he fights back. Strike back. Blood all over the place. Knife, He got expelled from school. Criminal record, even sometimes. And that's one approach. The other approach, this negative approach, negative emotion. The other approach is, I don't want to fight back. I want to tolerate it. And I want to forgive my friend. Because maybe he's going through some negative emotion. I'm not going to fight back. It's just one step back, and then the whole scene of fighting, the whole scene of blood all over the place, knife in and knife out. How many fold strength? This approach is easy, but most people take this violence approach. Which one you choose? So you let go of it, you've got to train yourself to do it. Next. Now I'm going to give you a more detail. A thought of emotion comes up, such as depression arises in your mind. Immediately you are aware of the arising of such thought. You distance yourself away from it. Don't follow the thought. Whisper to yourself, this is a thought of anxiety, of depression, of sadness that is coming up. I must not follow it. I'll let it go away. Can you do that? Whisper to yourself, I'll let it go away. I'm not going to hate it. I have values. I'm not going to let it cheat me. Third, watch the thought with the 4 introspections. How do you do it? You say, now, this thought makes me feel uncomfortable. I have discomfort in me. I feel sad. I cannot eat. I suffer from insomnia. I'm weak. I don't want to go out. I want to lock myself up. My heart is beating faster. I feel worried. I feel depressive. I feel angry. No. I'll let it go. I'll let go of the thought. Take a deep breath. Concentrate on my in and out, anapanasati, relax myself. I divert my attention to my in and out breath, and I focus on my breath, and I focus on my attention. I don't want my emotional mind to dominate. I want to be more rational. My mano has become more rational. My ego mind, my manas, I don't want to be friends with my manas now, so I'll let it go. That's the body. Introspection on the body, because your hormone is changing when you suffer from depression. You cannot eat, you cannot sleep, you feel sad, you don't want to go out. Your hormones change, your mentality change. But you just know it, you know it. You let it be, you can change it now because you are a beginner in this overcoming. So you just say, okay, this thought makes me feel uncomfortable, but it will go away. Time will tell, it will go away. And then, what do you do next? On the feeling part. This thought of anxiety, this depression is just a thought, a sensation of depression that has no substance in itself. It's just a feeling. Why do you mourn on the feeling? Why do you fight on the feeling? Why do you take your own life on a feeling? It's a pity that you take your own life on just a feeling. This is a feeling. This is not you. This is not you per se. This is a feeling. This thought is only temporary, that's for sure. It won't last long. It won't. I can guarantee you. If you keep on training and don't give up, it won't last long. You're just going through a storm. Who does not have to go through a snowstorm, especially in winter? You have to go through that snowstorm. Are you afraid of snowstorm? When we were in Asia, when I was in Hong Kong, and raining, we carry umbrellas and raincoat and all that. When I come to Canada, raining, I learned not to bring any umbrella. I don't wear any raincoat. I'm used to the drizzle. I'm going through rain. I love rain. But in Asia, you can't, because when it rains in dogs and cats. Your clothes all get wet. Every raindrop is like that. And here, it's so beautiful. The water is so beautiful. So why do I need to wear a coat and umbrella? So everybody has to go through snowstorm, unless you're always living in a rosy garden. If you have been used to a rosy garden provided by your parents, you must learn to grow up. Life is not just rosy garden. There are so many storms that you have to go through. The more storms you go through, the more experience you accumulate. Imagine those tycoons, they become very rich. You think they're rich? They become very rich so easily? They really struggle. They go through, they give up, they're in despair. You always have to go down the valley to climb up to another mountain. You can't just jump to another mountain that is higher. You always have to cross the stream, cross the mountain and go higher and higher. You have to learn in life in order to be successful. Your depression would not stop until you learn all that is to learn from it. Once your learning is all completed, you come out smelling like roses. The time comes. So you always have to go through storm. Don't be afraid of storm. Thought is only temporary. Number 4, this thought is not me. I'm not the thought. Neither am I the feeling. I must not let it affect me. It's just a thought. It's not me. That thought changes all the time. That thought comes and goes. Why do I have to identify myself, self with that thought, with that anger? That anger is just a thought of anger. Why do I identify myself, with that thought? Let it go away. So introspection on the body, introspection on the feeling, and introspection on impermanence, introspection on non-self. I like to give you copies, but I have 300 copies to make, and I have 60 copies in here, 3 by multiplied by 60, I have 1,800 pages. How can I make copies? I already exceeded by half an hour. So are you ready to write your questions down when I'm trying to end my talk with the last method to overcome emotion? You distribute all those papers out and pencils so that you can write your questions. We come to a Q&A, but we haven't finished with this yet. We yet have to deal with chanting meditation. So the power of mantra chanting. During chanting, our physiological changes are always occurring. Our nervous system is being affected by our own self-created sound. The effectiveness of the power of chanting depends on many things. The focus, the intention, the repetition, vocalization, and visualization. So in other words, we are coming now to sound therapy. We need sound therapy to heal our depression. It's the mystery. It's effective sound. You use not machine sound. Nowadays, they use machine sound to do operation. Gallbladder, they use ultrasound. They don't operate on you. They just use the frequency of sound to strike through your body and break the stone. You see the power of sound? Sound can do a lot of things. What is the most powerful sound? The most powerful sound is not from machines. From where? From your own mind. Consciousness creating sound is the most powerful. It's unimaginable. It's unfathomable. You know, in Germany, during the war, one man could gather billions of people for one model, for one intention, because of his speech, because of his eloquence. So sound, the most powerful sound is not from machine, it's from the mind. The mind is more. So do you want to produce from your mind the most powerful sound of yours to heal your own depression? Here's what it is. Chanting. When chanting has become a habit with the persistent firmness of intent, the effect will come to you. And chanting effectiveness depends on your focus, which you already got in your silent meditation, your intention. Your chanting is not a curse spell on somebody. Your intention is to heal. Right? They believe that there's a spell on somebody, you chant, and that guy will die. There's no such thing. Your intention is good. Your intention is to use sound to heal your friend's depression, to heal your own depression. You can use sound to elevate your happiness too. Music have the power of elevation of your happiness level, of your sense level. Good music is powerful. Everybody knows about that. Sound has effect. And then the power of sound therapy. For thousands of years, mantra chanting has been successfully used by men as powerful healing mechanism. Many researchers have proven that the healing properties of sound, including ultrasound and consciousness-altering audible sound, can work gradually and gently to return to the body's own vibration to their natural state. Our body is not vibrating naturally. It is out of vibration. And you use your own sound to harmonize it. Why? Because you have been affected by many other sounds outside. What kind of sounds you listen to? The sound of cars, the sound of people yelling, the sound of people cursing, the sound of people who are opinionated and giving you opinions about things that are unbelievable. You have been affected by sounds. When you're being affected by sounds, you're not in harmony. Your vibration has changed, your frequency has changed. Now you're using chanting to correct your own vibration, to put it down to equilibrium. The highly focused and fast vibration used in ultrasound is now being used in hospitals to break up kidney stones. That's science. It's a proven fact. Many, many years ago, we don't know how to use sound to operate. Who knows? Maybe 20 years from now, they don't need to operate on you. They just talk to you. That would be easy. Sound vibrations and lower heart rate variability and relax brainwave patterns and reduce respiratory problems. Certain sounds help to synchronize our fluctuating brain waves by providing a stable frequency which the brain waves can attune to. By using a repetition of rhythm and frequency, we can harmonize our brain waves from our regular awakening mind, our beta state, to a relaxed state, which is alpha state. So our mind is, most people is a beta state mind. It's proven by science. So you can actually use a repetition of chanting to elevate to a relaxed level. That's the reason why some music, relaxing music, piano music, nature sound can relax you because it tune back your frequency. However, if you listen to sound like terrible sound, then it upsets your frequency. So be careful of what music you're listening to. Not every piece of music is suitable for you. Then it also can elevate you to a theta state, a meditative state, and it can also elevate you to a deep meditative state, which is the delta state. It's a very deep level. And also up to this stage, I would like to give you a word of caution. When you're doing focused meditation, don't do it for too long. Are you out of breath? Just do it enough to calm down. Don't go deep and deep and deep into it. Some people, I like the feeling. I've been doing it for half an hour, now I'm relaxed. I feel a rapture of joy. I feel very comfortable. I feel this, I feel that. I can give you an analogy. If you are doing just calming down your mind, you just learn to calm down. But if you go deep into it, you are opening up your garbage bin. Then you can't control it. You have to slowly clean it. And most people, when they get too addicted to meditation has this dark side, Don't say everything is good to the very top, perfect. No. Meditation has its dark side. Don't do it for too long. Just do it enough to calm down yourself. If you do it for too long, you have the problems of what they sometimes, quote unquote, using that terms, Kundalini awakening. You could have problems in it. Your chi could be all over the place. You run into more problems. So that's the reason why you can't meditate without a good teacher. Some people teach by a book. They got a book, they read that book, and they teach you. They teach from a book. And some people teach from a video. These days you can actually access videos, and they see all these videos, and they set up a place that what they call meditation center, a retreat center. They themselves, they just read it from a book, from a video, and they teach you. What happened? You run into problems. When you run into the problem, you just say, oh, it's easy. Let go, let go, let go. Go home, let go. Go home now and let go at home. You think that's easy? No. Just do it enough to calm down. Don't get deep into it. It's enough. You want to be a Buddha in 1 year? No way. In mantra chanting, it is the frequency of the sound vibration that is being applied in the healing process. In meditative therapy, it is the transformation of your consciousness. Self-created sounds, such as chanting a mantra or a sutra, will cause the left and the right hemisphere of the brain to synchronize. We have two parts of the brain. I got it from neuroscience. I have to introduce you a book which is worth reading later. Neuroscience tells me that we have a right brain and a left brain. The left brain is the ego center, including all your learning, your logical reasoning, your analysis, your language skill, your artistic skill, you categorize, communicate, and emotion. That's also your emotion center. That's your left brain. Your right brain, the spiritual center, abundance with divinity, empathic, blissful, peaceful tranquility, inward contemplation, and free of attachment and non-self. And that was a lady wrote a book, and the author of the book. I'm not promoting for this lady, but I think that's a great book that you should read. It's a book written by Jill Taylor, and she still is, a neuroscientist, teaching doctors at Harvard, expert in the brain. And one day he woke up, he suffered from a hemorrhage of the left brain. He lost all memory. She lost all the memory. She's a plantation. She couldn't move. She couldn't speak. She was a plantation, a vegetation. And somehow, because she knew everything about the structure of the brain, she was in a coma, paralyzed, couldn't move, in a hospital. And somehow she knew that the right side of the brain is the spiritual brain, and that brain can be used to heal this part. So he said, I don't want to give up. I'm using the right side of my hemisphere to heal my left side. And he's been doing it every day inside of her. And after 8 years, she recovered 98%. And she wrote a book, one of the bestsellers. It's called A Stroke of Insight. She got a stroke, right? A Stroke of Insight. It's one of the bestsellers. An experience of how he recovered by using the right hemisphere of the brain to heal the left hemisphere of the brain. And most of the content conform to the Buddha teaching that I've been talking about, that we've been learning. Spiritual brain. It's worth reading, that book. Get it from Amazon. Cheap. I'm not promoting for Amazon, though. Yeah. Recitation of sacred mantras actually causes the right hemisphere in the fact body and mind to become attuned with divine energy. When one chants a mantra for an extended period of time, one's vibration of sound frequency can invoke the higher energies of bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas, what does it mean? If you have a different religion, just say Mother Teresa. If you have a different religion, you say God. I want to be attuned to God. It does not matter what you believe in. Throw away that demarcation of religion. It's just a word. If you're working towards the same objective, it's just a word. That divinity could be the divinity in your mind, whatever you believe in. Just chant it. So, becoming one and unite with that energy. Sound therapy, scientists have discovered that certain brainwave frequencies, especially the alpha and theta, may relieve stress and anxiety, facilitate a deep physical relaxation, increase verbal ability. So that if you are an introvert sometimes they say, okay, I'm depressed because I'm introvert. I don't know how to speak. But I tell you, introvert has a lot of potential in them. There are many tycoons who are introvert and they become very successful. What's the problem? There's no problem with being an introvert. You have a lot of values. You just don't want to talk. You're sick of this babbling, gossiping. You just want to do. You just want to act. Reduce pain, promote euphoria as a result of stimulating the release of endorphins. Please refer to the studies. I give you some reference there. Jonathan Goleman is an expert on healing sounds. Read his books, and he'll tell you a lot of information about how sound can heal you. Okay, let's practice one mantra, and it's a very famous mantra. And you don't have to close your eyes. I just release it to you. And that mantra is an ancient mantra, and the way we pronounced it is Om Mani Padme Hum. Do you see the pronunciation? Om in Sanskrit. Om Mani Padme Hum. So we say Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Right? That's how you pronounce it. What's the meaning of Om? Om is the origin of all sounds, origins of all good deeds. Mani means the most precious jewel or diamond, symbolizing the nature in you. Everybody has that Buddha nature in you. People call it God. Everybody has that God in you. Don't look for it externally. Don't look for God externally. It's inside of you. So you have that God inside of you, that diamond inside of you. Don't look for anything, anywhere. How do you look for it? How do you look for the God inside of you? There are certain conditions that you look for. You have to act like a lotus. A lotus grows from the mud. The mud meaning all the emotions, all the bad deeds. But the mud, the purity of the mud, the purity of the lotus comes out of the mud. The lotus becomes very pure. It's grown from the mud, but it becomes very pure. So it symbolizes purification of your eight consciousness. You have to purify all your eight consciousnesses in order to see your real nature. Purify your eyesight. Purify your listening. Purify your nose. Purify your tongue. Purify your mind. Purify your body. Complete purification of all your senses, of all your eight consciousnesses. Then you'll see that diamond jewel in you. That's within you. You haven't discovered it, but it does not mean that it's not there. When I was driving from Marriott past Kenona up to Vernon, I have been watching. I see all these rocks. They were all filled with minerals. Some of them are red, orange, green. I know that there were minerals in there, especially iron and copper and you name them. And in other words, there's diamond in there. The fact that you haven't excavated it doesn't mean that the diamond is not there. It's just being covered by the dust and dirt. You just have to refine it. You don't say that there's no ore in it, there's no copper in it, there's no gold in it. The gold is already in. It's you have to process it. You have to refine it. So chant this mantra. You have to purify yourself to get the ore. How to purify yourself? Be good. Positive, wholesome emotions. Abstain from killing, abstain from lying, all these disciplines, abstain from sexual misconduct. Learn how to abstain from bad deeds. I don't have enough time to tell you what are good deeds because there's a lot in there. So that's Padme. Padme is to purify yourself, refine all these rocks to get the ore, you get the gold. And Hum is what? Every time the mantra is invoked, a Bodhi seed is planted in your consciousness. A seed is planted in your consciousness, it will come true. The seed will not die. You need to plant the seed in there. The reason why I tell you that emotion will go away is you are planting good seeds to replace them. You're not eliminating the bad seeds, but you're planting good seeds. You're watering only the good seeds and you ignore the bad seeds. So good seeds will come out. And I'll go on to the next slide. And there's another mantra. It's called the peacock mantra. The peacock mantra is especially for relaxation of poison in the mind. The Buddha said, chant this mantra and the poison of the mind would be purified. I'm running out of time. I'm coming to my last slide now. Talking about family members. How should family members behave in a situation where family members have depression? I have a poem in here. What I want is your support and kindness. Please don't laugh or frown at me when I cry. It's not a shame to have depression. Everybody has emotions. It's not a shame of having emotions. Please don't tell me what I ought to do. I can get it from Google. I have already known the reasons of emotions. Please just quietly sit by my side and listen. Just listen. Sit by my side. Stand by me. Stand by me. So to help those to get through depression, you must give them what they truly need, not the tactic lessons, not just lessons and lessons on what they should do, what they ought to think or feel, but learning to accept and care for them as they are in the present moment. Develop the powers of patient listening, understanding, and compassion to provide healing to their minds and let the teachings of the Dharma shine through into their soul. Listen, listen, listen. Stand by them. Don't go away. Stop your work. It's worth it. It's worth to stop making one extra buck. It's worth it to stop working for one extra hour to earn $1,000. A life is concerned. Spend the time with them. It may sound kindergarten. Listen to the kindergarten talk. You may find how he thinks. The fact that you're standing by him or her counts. Don't think the time is wasted. Very important, very important. So I finished my talk. I've gone over 1 hour over time. So I'm going to answer this question if you're still willing to listen. My first question is my daughter died at the age of 10 years. I was told that she went home quickly. I knew she was gone when she died in the ER. Is her quick return to spirit an indication of her old soul? I have a belief that when humans die as children, they are old souls. Everybody are old souls before. Before we reincarnate in this body, we are old souls. It's just like we are living in a hotel. We are living in a hotel, if we keep it an analogy. In this life, we're living in a 4-star or 5-star because we have good living. And if you cultivate all kinds of bad energy, when you reincarnate in the next life, you may be living in a 4-star or 3-star or even B&B. We don't know. So it depends on, you are changing hotel, but who is checking in or who is checking out? It's the same person. It's the same person who is checking in and checking out. You're checking to different hotel. This is just a hotel. You got to go when the lease expires. You can ask for renewable option. This lease has no renewable option. You got to go. It's a net lease. You got to keep up your furniture. You got to paint it. You got to upkeep it. But you have to go when the time expires. You change to another form. Make sure that you go for presidential in your next life, at least. So everybody is an old soul. Don't worry about if one of the family members pass away, if you still hang on to it. That is another negative emotion. If you still hang on, there's another suffering. There are 8 sufferings in this world. Birth is suffering. Aging is suffering. Death is suffering. Sickness is suffering. Suffering arising from departure of beloved ones. You suffer because your dad passed away, your granddad, your children. You suffer. There's another kind of suffering. And suffering arising from living with hated ones, disliked ones. That's also a suffering. You live with someone you dislike. That is suffering. Not only in the family, in your company, your colleagues. He's stabbing your back. Your supervisors who always give you a bad time. That is suffering. So we are in sufferings. And how do we deal with sufferings? We just live with it and let it go and cultivate good karma to dilute them. So we are in old souls anyway. And we reincarnate into another one in the next life. So what is the most profound Dharma concept teaching to you? There's so many concepts. I have a lot of Dharma talks on YouTube. Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path, a lot of Dharma talk. And there are other monks too. There are other monks giving very good lectures on the Buddhist teaching. You don't have to learn everything about the Buddhist teaching, because the Buddhist teaching is now it's like an ocean of literature. How can you drink up the whole ocean? You want to taste the ocean, you don't have to drink up the whole ocean. You just use the cup, scoop a little bit, and then drink it. Then you know the taste. You scoop another cup and taste it. You know the taste. You have no power. There's no way you drink up the whole ocean. You just scoop up some concepts, important concepts, drink it. Oh, this is what it is. This is the taste. Don't go to a polluted sea, though. Make sure you have the right teaching. You don't need to drink up the whole ocean. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about so many concepts. You will learn. If you start today, the Google gives you a lot of information about true, authentic Buddhism. Just get the main concepts and not just learning the concepts, think about it, bring it into practice. There will be a lot of tremendous benefits on you. What are your thoughts on genetics? I'm not a doctor, you know. I'm just a monk. That question should be directed to a genetic doctor. What are your thoughts on quantum theory? I'm not a scientist either. Plus the fact that I'm running out of time. So that should be addressed to scientists, because you got a lot of information from internet anyway. In your opinion, how has social media impact happiness and status? The social media has done a lot of sometimes harm and sometimes merits and demerits. So it's just like emotions. Some emotions are positive, some are negative. You have to pick and choose. You have to know how to choose the right source of the mass media. Don't believe in everything. Just like don't go to any meditation center because they could be teaching from a book, from a video. But first of all, scoop up some unpolluted, clean water from the ocean of literature of the Buddhist teaching so that you won't be misdirected, because you have the knowledge already in you, what is right and what is the Buddhist teaching and what isn't. Because many people start to build up what do you call a business venture using Buddhism. Meditation center, retreat center. Many places, but their motive could be on profit. I don't know. I'm not criticizing. I'm not naming anything. Can you send me the PowerPoint presentation for my daughter who would not be here? I will talk to Sermon, and if we can send him the PowerPoint, which may be useful to your daughter, because your daughter can't be here. But you need to explain to your daughter what the PowerPoint is all about. Why is flattery bad? If flattery have bad intention, if flattery is just have an intention of deceit, it's bad. Flattery sometimes it's just to make people feel happy without distorting honesty is okay. But if you flatter overwhelmingly that is not true, you're not being truthful. You're not being truthful. Any flattery, I guess, has to be supported by honesty. So if the beggar is back here on the street with dirty clothes, you say, "You are beautiful." I mean, you can't flatter a beggar back here on the street with shabby clothes and say, "You are beautiful." And if there is an overweight lady and you want to criticize her, you say, "You are really beautiful. You are good shape." I mean, how can you say that? I mean, right? You are just indirectly, you're deceitful. As long as you are not deceitful, a certain amount of flatter may work. How would you say about reaching out to others? I think more education, more practice, more understanding, more listening will do. Okay, I've answered all the questions. I got more questions. I think there's a lot more in here. Maybe I should break for the day. I've already gone 1 hour over. Yeah, you're getting hot in your seat. You want to go home. Okay, thank you very much for your attendance. Yeah. Thank you.